Hi there, it's Debs Kuness here from ETS, and I'm one of ETS's principal business psychologists. And in my work, I'm often asked to support the training and development of leaders across a wide variety of different areas and behaviours. And one area which I've noticed has increasingly been cropping up recently has been all about resilience and staying resilient at work. So I've been thinking a little bit about why that might be, and I'd be dead interested to hear your views on that as well. So please do comment and share your thoughts once you've seen the video. And I guess it's not too surprising, given the relative uncertainty that we face right now, particularly stemming from Brexit. It's impacting how we feel at work. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've pretty much had it with waking up and looking at Boris Johnson's face every morning on BBC News. It feels a little bit like, for all the progress, technological advances, scientific breakthroughs that we've seen, we've actually never been in more of a VUCA, or volatile, complex, ambiguous environment. With people worrying about work stability, worrying about job security, financial matters, and a whole host of other things as well. And I think naturally this brings an increased level of pressure, an increased level of stress. And so being able to manage that pressure and to bounce back from it is becoming ever more critical, both inside the workplace but also outside the workplace as well. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm hearing more and more about this topic from an organisational psychology perspective. Businesses now more than ever need their people at their best, and they need them to be equipped to be able to manage the reality of today's world sustainably and consistently as well, and to bounce back from things that may seem quite negative and ambiguous. And I think resilience is one of those terms that's been in danger of becoming a bit of a buzzword in an organisational context for a while now. I think it's really positive in that it's brought attention to topics like mental health and well-being at work. But what it's also done is open up potential opportunity for some myths to emerge about what it is and about what it isn't. And I think the biggest and most dangerous of those myths potentially is you either have resilience or you don't. You're born with it or you're not. And in my view, that's just simply not true. The reality is that resilience is made up of a number of different component parts, and each one of those is developable. And that's great news for us, because that means if we want to build our levels of resilience, then we can. So where do we start? Well, I think this can be one of the tough parts of any development effort. And in this case, I think a really intuitive tool to use as a starting point is the RCI, and that stands for the Roffey-Park Resilience Capability Index. It's based on robust research and comprises just a short online questionnaire to help you assess your own resilience capabilities across 5 core domains. And the output is a super simple report which just gives you a bit of an indication of your relative areas of strength and your relative areas of development across those 5 domains, and in comparison to a norm group as well. And I think once you know your baseline, then you can reflect on where you want to focus moving forward to build your resilience levels, if that's what you want to do. And that tends to be where the work that I do comes in. Now, there are practical tips, practical techniques that anybody can use across all component parts of resilience in order to develop it further. And quite often it's the practical behavioural shifts that have the biggest impact. So, for example, if you were focusing on building your ability to take a step back and keep perspective in the moment, then one of the exercises that you could do to build that capability would be through using Covey's Circle of Influence model. And this is about getting into the habit of controlling the controllables and not expending energy or wasting energy on things that you simply can't influence or can't control. Brexit, for example. Another example might be if you're focusing on building up your support network, so that relates to the connection side of resilience. A nice way of really getting a view on who you have in your network currently and what might be missing is to draw out a visual map, both of who you currently have and also the role that they play. And this is a really simple way of understanding where the gaps might be in your own network and what else you might need. And then finally, if you were focusing on developing your self-awareness, then a key aspect of that is your ability to manage your emotional triggers, so you don't get what we call emotionally hijacked during challenging conversations, for example. And we often use actor real plays as part of the work that we do to really embed new techniques and new strategies for managing yourself, but also managing others in the moment. And what are the key things to enable that to happen? And I think really a great deal of building resilience is about self-awareness, and then it's about forming and embedding small new habits. Resilience is something that you can practice, it's something that you can develop, and it can protect and sustain you both in a work context and outside of work when things get tough. And I think in our busy, changing, exciting world, it's probably something worth thinking about as an employer, particularly, not only from a well-being perspective, but also from a people performance perspective. So if you're thinking about how you get the best out of your people now, potentially in the future, as things inevitably change, I think one of the things I would really recommend is thinking about action. How are you going to achieve that for your people? And really start to think about how you might equip your people to navigate what the world and the workplace is currently throwing at them. And I really think actually this could be one of the most critical actions that you put in place this year or any year. So I hope that's been helpful. Great to hear your comments.